Okay, let's have an example for this session. A particle of mass 0.250 kilograms is influenced by a 1D force for which the corresponding potential energy function is shown not at the right, but rather at the bottom. Assume that the total energy of the particles is 4 joules. Letter A, identify the stable and unstable equilibrium points. Letter B, what are the turning points? Letter C, what is the largest speed the particle can have? And letter D, sketch the force versus position plot of the particle. So marami ka nang makakalculate na quantities by just looking at the potential energy per position graph. Okay, sige, I'll be giving you maybe 2 minutes to solve this or to think on how to solve this problem, and I show you the solution after. Okay. Okay, so maybe 2 minutes have elapsed. Or joke lang yung sinabi ko na yun. Pero let us answer this problem. So again, so you have a particle of mass 2.250 kilograms, and it's influenced by a 1D force for which the following is the corresponding potential energy diagram. So ang una natin gawin, syempre, is to expand it. So in this problem, we plot fx versus x as from u versus x. Unahin natin yung pagpa-plot. I-plot muna natin yung i-plot muna yung view as a function of x para mas kita natin kasi diyan ang late eh. So unahin natin yun. Let me plot it first. So yan. So so this looks like wait lang. Medyo tabi niya ang aking so, ulit. Ganyan. Yan. So this is x, this is u. Tapos this is from 1 to let's say 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then I have 0. So this is 1, and this is 2. Tapos ang displacement is from 0.5 to 2.5. So 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 0.5, 1.0, 1.5, 2.0, 2.5. This is minus 1. Masyado maliit yung ano ko. Ay, kaya na nga natin yan. Yan, this is minus 1, this is minus 3. Okay, tapos ang nangyari, when you draw it, so magdodrawing ako pag ganyan, something like this. And then, lalagpas siya ng konti, no? So, parang pag ganyan. Tapos, at 1.0, babalik na siya at 1.0. Tapos, aangat siya in between 1.0 and 1.5. So, let's say nandito siya. Andito yung top. So, parang pag ganyan. Tapos, again, pinaplot ko pa lang andito siya, let's say, yung nasa pang particle, something like this. Tapos, sorry. Ulitin natin to. Something like this. Tapos, aangat siya papuntang 2.5 or medyo mas steep pa ng konti. Yan. Parang ganyan yung itsura niya. Okay? Nakuha? Something like that. Tapos, yung total energy daw is at -4. So, this is the total energy E equals 4.00 joules. Letter A. So, una, what are the points? What are the stable and unstable equilibrium points? Ano yung mga points na yun? Okay, pwede natin approximate. Alin dyan yung mga hills at saka yung mga valleys. So, ano yung lowest points or local minima and ano yung mga local maxima? Alin dyan? So, ito yon. So, this point here, this point here, this point here, and this point here. So, you can always approximate it. And based on my approximation ko lang to the stable equilibrium points are located at 0.75 meters minus 2.5 joules and at 1.75 meters negative 0.75 joules. Okay? So, yan yung mga stable equilibrium points. So, on the other hand, the unstable equilibrium points, again, based on my approximation, pwedeng magkaiba tayo ng konti, is at 1.40 meters, 2.5 joules. Okay? Clear? 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 Malinaw? So yan yung mga directions. So itong mga points na to, I just relocated their coordinates. Okay. Sige. So, letter B. Letter B. Nakuha yung letter A? May mga tanong ba? Letter A, may questions sa letter A? Wala? Walang tanong? Okay, mukha naman wala. Sige. So, the turning points. So, saan ang turning points? So, remember, the turning points are the ones where the energy, the total mechanical energy, and the potential energy intersect. So, nasaan yung dalawang points na yun? There are two turning points in this case. Saan? So, the turning points, I will write it as X. So, this point here, and this point here, since the total energy and the potential energy intersect at these 2 points, then these two are turning points. And therefore, the particle is only bound in this particular region, which is, I think, 0.25 to, let's say, 2.5. So, the turning points are the regions, are the points or locations where E equals U. And therefore, the particle is at rest there. Kasi K equals 0. Hence, in that case, you have 0.25 meters, 4.00 joules, and also 2.40 meters, 4.00 joules. So these are the two turning points of the particle. So therefore, the particle is only bound in that region. So this is the stable and unstable equilibrium points. Okay, clear? Questions? May tanong sa letter B? May tanong pa sa letter B? None, okay. Now, for letter C, this is now interesting. Ang tinatanong sa letter C is, what is the largest speed the particle can have? What is the largest speed? So, paano masasabi pinakamalaki yung speed ng isang particle? The particle is fastest when what? Kailan yan? Kailan mo masasabi yan? Anong quantity na related sa energy yung malaki kapag mabilis ang particle? Ano? Anyone? Kailangan mabilis yung particle eh. Therefore, dapat, ano masasabi natin? Dapat, ano siya? Higher energy lang ba? Eh, di ba ang total mechanical energy constant sa potential energy diagram? Anong malaki dapat? Dapat malaki ang, maliit ang potential energy which translates to higher kinetic energy. This means that the particle is fastest when K is maximum. And remember, the total energy of a particle is just the sum of the kinetic and potential energies, and therefore, the total kinetic energy is just the difference of E and the potential energy. And since E is constant, higher kinetic energy, so higher kinetic energy implies lower potential energy kasi mechanical energy sa mga pinag-uusapan natin. Therefore, balik tayo ngayon kay potential energy diagram. Alin dyan yung pinakamababang potential energy? Alin ngayon dyan? Alin ngayon dyan? Nasaan dito yung pinakamababang potential energy? Siyempre, nasa 0.70 at this region here, which is one of the points. So in that case, I'll be using the stable equilibrium point, 0.75 meters, negative 2.5 meters. So the potential energy is minimum at 0.75 meters, negative 2.5 joules. Okay? And since alam natin yung total energy, which is equal to just 4 joules minus U, therefore, the total kinetic energy is just equal to what? Ito yon, ito yung total mechanical energy, ito yung potential energy. Therefore, you have 4. So this is E minus U, which is just 4.00 joules minus negative 2.5 joules, and therefore you have 6.5 joules. Okay, so yan yung total kinetic energy. Then yung maximum kinetic energy. Yan yung pinakamalaking kinetic energy na meron ka. Now, Okay, so what? Mahanap natin ngayon yung velocity because, or in that case, the speed. Because this is just equal to 1/2 mv squared. And we know the mass of the particle. Nakuha? Thus, V is just square root of k over m, which is just the quantity twice of 6.5 joules all over what's the mass of the particle. It turns out that it is a 2.250 kilogram particle. So this is 0.250 kilograms raised to 1/2. And it turns out that the answer V, or the maximum velocity V max, or maximum speed, is 7.21 meters per second. Tama? Tama? Clear to? Questions? Are there any questions? Ayan. So, ganun hanapin yung... So, kapag kinetic energy term, dapat mas maliit yung potential energy if you want to find the maximum kinetic energy and therefore the maximum speed. The particle is fastest at 0.75 meters with speed equal to 7.21 meters per second. Mabilis yung particle na yan. Okay? Eto na. Questions for this? Questions for this? May tanong pa for this? Okay, wala. So now let's go to the fun part, letter D. For letter D, we plot the force versus position of the particle. Ang una kong gagawin ay copyhin yung kung anong meron ako. Let me copy it. Okay. Yan, di ba? Magic. Ayan. Kinopya ko lang yung kung ano yung diagram ko kanina. Okay, sige. So ang una natin gagawin, as I said, ang pinakamadaling i-plot muna. Ano yung pinakamadaling hanapin muna? Ano yung pinakauna yung kailangan gawin pag nagpa-plot? Hanapin nyo muna yung mga points where the force is zero. Kasi yun, alam nyo, at this point, nagbabago yung sign ng force. Okay, so for example here, this point here, which are your your equilibrium points. So find first the equilibrium points. So yun yung unahin nating i-plot. So let me again redraw the force as a function of position. Note here na hindi natin alam yung actual values ng force unless we do actual calculation on the slope. Medyo mahirap yun kasi continuous function yan. For the meantime, sufficient na malaman natin yung behavior lang ng force. Kaya walang y coordinates to muna. So ano lang yan? Signs lang ang tinitignan natin at behavior. So let's say this is force, this is position, and this is position. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have 0.5, 1.0, 1.5, 2.0, 2.5. This is in meters. This is in newtons. So again, hindi natin alam yung actual values ng force. Mahirap hanapin. So for the meantime, yun lang muna hanapin natin. So ang mangyayari, hanapin muna natin yung mga equilibrium points. Kasi alam mo na when you do that, at this point here, and also, trace ko lang to, at this point here, and at this point here, alam mo na zero yung force ng particle. Kasi alam mo na yung slope dyan, zero. Flatline yung tatlong yan. Okay? Clear? Clear tayo rito? Gets? Do you get this? Okay, clear naman. Sana clear naman. Okay, next. Let's now go to the actual slopes. Kasi after mo mahanap yung mga points, you determine the slopes. So for example, in this region here, before this region, let's say X to, Y to, tsaka Z to, para na lang malinaw. So before X, what's the sign of the particle? What is the sign? So 0 to X, X to Y, wait lang. So this is, may dalawang points pa rito. X2, X2, X2 na lang to, Y2 na lang to. Then I have a Y, and then I have a Y to Y2, hindi, X2 to Y pala. Nag-identify ako ng points sa X2 to Y, Y to Y2, Y2 to Z. Z above. Okay. Sige, isa-isay natin. From 0 to X, what is the slope? Positive, negative? Positive or negative? Okay, so ganito. Ilipat ko to dito para lang mas malinaw. Gilid ko muna to. Tapos, lagay ako ng table dito. This is a table, by the way. Table yan. So, the slope here is what? The slope for the 0 to x direction is what? Ano yan? Dapat ito ay, this is negative, right? Pero therefore, what can you say about the force? Is it positive or negative? Is it positive or negative? Dapat ito ay positive, tama. So, positive yan. What about at point x? Alam nating 0 yung slope dyan, tsaka 0 yung force dyan. Same thing with, nawala yung y, sorry. May y pa dyan. So, 0 to, 0 din to. Okay. What about, is it x to x2? x to x2. ang weird ng wording, pero sige. Wait lang, ibaba ko to. Ayusin ko na lang muna. Sige. What about from x to x2? From location x to location x2. Ano siya? Ano yung masasabi natin sa so x to x2 then x2. Yan. Yan. From x to x2, from location x to location x2, ano yan? Positive ang slope, therefore what can we say about the force? Ano lang masasabi sa force? Negative, tama. Negative to. Okay, sige. Then, so ito yung titignan natin yung force. What about x2? Anong masasabi natin kay x2? Ano siya? Ano yan? Kaya ka siya nilabel. Nilabel ko yung x2. It's an inflection point. Importante yung inflection point later. What about x2 to y? Ano siya? Ganun pa rin. Wala namang pinagkaiba. Ang nangyari lang, may mangyayari lang dun sa point. So you have positive pa rin to, negative pa rin to. And then sa point y, you have both zeros. Y to y2, from location y to location y2, you have now a reversal. So negative na yung slope, but the force will now be positive kasi magre-reverse ka yung sign. At location y2, pansinin nyo, again, that's an inflection point. And from y2 to z, negative pa rin ang slope, positive pa rin ang force. And from z, at z, this is again 0 to 0. And from z above, you have now a positive slope and a negative force. So ganyan yung mangyayari. Okay, so ilipat ko ulit ito. Tapos iangat ko to. Sorry for that. Yan. Okay, sige. Now, isa-isay natin. Again, 0 to x, negative slope, positive force. So you start with the positive term. Positive papuntang 0. Tapos, x to x2, you have a negative force. So mag-intersect to ngayon. It will intersect here until it reaches the first inflection point. So beyond x naught. So dito, you get the lowest point and diretso siya dyan. Okay. Then after going to the lowest point, ito na yung lowest point, di ba? Mag-change siya ng direction. Okay, parang ganyan. Until it reaches the second point or the second zero. And then after that, so yun na yung location C. After that, this will be positive. The slope is negative, but bumalik siya sa pagka-positive kasi nag-invert ng sign. So ganyan. And then, near 1.5, magma-maximize yan. Tapos, babalik siya sa negative kasi nagpalit siya. Tapos, dire-diretso na yan ganun. Ganyan yung sort of yung itsura ng force as a function of position. Okay? Again, this point here is the x2. This point here is the y2. This is my x. This is my y. This is my z. Malinaw? Nakuha kung paano na-plot. Again, you start with the positive. That's before x. It becomes negative kasi nag-cross siya at x-axis. It located an inflection point at x2. Bumalik, dumiretso kay 0, which is y. Na-locate ulit sa inflection point, nag-change ng direction, and nag-negative ulit. So, ganyan yung force as a function of position. Nakuha tong position, plot na to. Did you get this plot here? Questions? May tanong ba? Okay, so So, ganun mag-plot ng force as a function of position. You take note of, first, the equilibrium points where the force is 0. Second, the slope of the force before and after the equilibrium points. And third, the location of the inflection points for which the direction of the force changes time. Okay, malinaw ba to? Questions? May tanong? Okay.